Deja. Good evening to you as well. It is pretty late where I am, but hey there, Alistair. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. It's Adam Sisk. Hello, Adam. Good to see you again. We were here last week on Monday for a short impromptu stream, but I had a little bit of a technical issue behind the scenes that messed up the audio just a little bit, and since I got it figured out, I wanted to do another stream with hopefully a much clearer audio for everybody. Yeah, all is well, Adam. All is well. I'm getting my Thanksgiving break started a little bit early. I'm not going into work tomorrow, so kind of playing hooky, and so we're staying up a little bit later than usual tonight to stream a bit. Deja is asking about favorite Thanksgiving food, and I don't remember if Deja were you in the stream last week on Monday, because it seemed like all we could talk about was food. We've got a light rain coming down outside where I am. Cayubi, you gotta go in tomorrow, huh? I would normally need to go in tomorrow, but I used some of my leave, and gotta get ready for some relatives who are coming in to the house on Thursday anyway. You know, Adam's got a good question. Rainy or sunny days? I think that is very dependent on mood for me. Some moods, there's just nothing better than a rain to kind of cleanse the surroundings, you know. But if I'm going to be outside and hiking around and stuff like that, that is a little bit more of a hassle to do in the rain, so the sun is good for those kind of days. Sometimes rainy weather can feel really cathartic, if you know what I mean. Sometimes if you're just a little gray in your mind, you're working through something. Sometimes it's cathartic to see that same vibe kind of manifest in nature. Train push through. Hello there. Welcome to the chat. I apologize if I've seen you before, but your username is striking me as new tonight. So, welcome. This is a bit of leather from a protective case on an old camera. Let's see, we don't have any snow on the ground right now, Cayubi. We did get a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but we've dodged the bullets so far, which I'm happy about. I don't mind the cold, but I do drive every day for work, and I don't mind driving in the wet and the cold, but I don't really care for snow and ice. The winter night. The stream is barely 7:20. Yep, you got it. 5K. Oh, that's kind of you, Train Push. Thank you very much for saying that. You like the leather sounds, Deja? Oh, you're very welcome. Winter Night, thanks for being here tonight. Yeah, the weather is turning. We've got that holiday season coming up. For me, those holidays require me to kind of summon a little bit of perspective and a little bit of context. Sometimes with visiting relatives and stuff like that, you know how it goes. It can sometimes get a little complicated. Holidays are not necessarily good for everybody. Not everybody enjoys them, and sometimes, though, the stuff with relatives can get a little what's the word I want to use? Thanks, Train Push. I'm not getting your name right, am I? There's an S in there. Trains push through. I see it now. Sorry about that. Trains push through. Trains Push says, I hate Christmas most. I can sympathize. I certainly don't hate the season, but I will confess that as I get older, it's a little sad to me what it does to people. Sorry, I shouldn't have said it like that. It doesn't do anything to people, but people do distort it and kind of, I don't know, the materialism of it all kind of misses the mark in my mind. And that kicks in, you know, full speed ahead right after Thanksgiving, so it is a bit tedious. Seasons that are supposed to be bring out the best and bring people together, oftentimes bring out exactly the opposite, and that's sad. That's what I mean by perspective, you know. We shouldn't just go crazy during that time and put our emphasis in all the wrong places. And this is purely editorial comment, of course, from me. Don't everybody everybody's got a different take on it, of course. Blitz Symphonic, hello there. Thanks so much for being here. Romachek 75. A good evening or morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Good evening to you. Glad you're digging the leather. Just kind of chilling. Renee Rubinos. Hello. 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 Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. I intentionally went with the black shirt tonight to hopefully give you a nice dark frame. I know that works better for some people for sleeping, 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 sleeping. Meal prep for Thursday. I am fairly sure that we'll be doing some work on food things, although I will tell you that we try to keep it reasonable with respect to the food, meaning we don't want the holiday to just beat us to death with hours and hours in the kitchen. So we try to keep it reasonable. We don't want to be so exhausted with the prep that we can't enjoy anybody's company. But I'm sure I'll be doing something tomorrow. We haven't really coordinated on what needs to be done tomorrow versus Thursday. We're having ham instead of turkey. That's our own kind of preference or protest choice. Not really, but most of the time I just like a nice ham more than turkey. Silly question, but could you give my cat a shout out? His name is Dewey. Listen, Dewey, I hope you're behaving yourself there, wherever you are. And I say that because we've got a young female cat in this house now who hasn't been with us very long so far, and she is also quite a mischievous animal. So Dewey the cat, I hope your behavior gets higher marks than ours. Commander Salamander, hello there. Thanks for being with us tonight. Which base do you have again? I got an Ibanez for $100 3 months ago. Been too busy with work to really commit myself to learning how to play, but I'm probably going to start practicing more. The main bass that I use that you've seen in the video on the channel is just a Fender Precision bass. It's a 1987 Fender Precision. I also have a Spectre NS5 that that has not made an appearance on the channel. Commander Salamander is also eating ham for Thanksgiving. Very good, very good. Roma check. My cat is 16 and still thinks she's 1. She's all over the place. 16. My goodness. What is your cat's name, if you don't mind sharing? It's okay if you don't want to share it, but 16-year-old cat, my goodness. So Dewey heard his name and his ears perked up. Very good. Dewey, Dewey, Dewey the cat. Dewey the cat. Yeah, Commander, I definitely appreciate the vintage aesthetic of the bass that I play. I dressed it up specifically to look much more vintage than it is. R Dizzle, R Dizzle. Hello there, R Dizzle. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're on kind of late tonight, so I hope you can stick with us a bit. Any favorite board games? Oh gosh. I like, what is it? Code names? Code words? Is it code names? I like Small World. I guess games that use cards probably don't count as board games, do they? Things like Bears versus Babies and what's that unicorn game? Yeah, we've got a bookcase full of games in the front room. Haven't gotten everybody together to play recently, but we need to. I'm hope we can get that together over the holidays. Ginger is the 16-year-old cat. Ginger the cat. I hope Ginger is doing well. Hey, it's Supernova. Missed the beginning of trying a game with friends for the first time. Don't starve together. We were just talking about games, Supernova. Would you recommend Don't Starve Together? Is it a good one? Blockus. I've heard of Blockus. Yes, Hearthstone does not count as a board game for sure. That is true. Sleep well, Trains Push. Thanks so much for being with us for a bit tonight. Supernova, I died several times in the first hour. Well, as long as you had fun. Okay, Trains Push, thanks so much. Do you guys ever have that problem, though, when you ask me a question like, what are your favorite board games? And I completely draw a blank, even though, I've played a whole bunch of them and they're right over there in the other room. But for some reason, when you need me to think about a list, my brain just doesn't work. Does that ever happen to you? It's like Kyubi knows something about Don't Starve. I have not tried that one. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes when people ask me for my favorite bands, that just happened to me today. Supernova. Not necessarily favorite bands, but somebody asked me if I had some, things I've been listening to lately that were kind of upbeat. And I've got like, I don't know, 85 albums in the car on a USB stick, and I am absolutely sure there's some stuff on there that would have satisfied his request, my coworker who asked me, and I could not think of anything. It's like when the question hits me, out of context. I just can't seem to get my brain to switch over. Hey, Nick Grits is in the chat. Hello, Nick. Trains Push is asking about music now. Please, everybody make sure to chime in on all the questions, okay? Whenever somebody asks a question, it's not just to me. Make sure everybody is kind of feeling free to throw in your opinions on all of these topics, okay? That's kind of what we do here. But hello, Nick. It's good to see you. Kyubi's got 2 bookshelves, a couple of shelves of video games, a few boxes of CDs. Never can think of my favorite stuff. Yup. Right there with you, Kyubi. What music do you enjoy? I will tell you the band that I suggested to my coworker who was looking for something a little more upbeat was the Australian band The Cat Empire. my first exposure to the Cat Empire was the year their second album came out, which is called Two Shoes. And we downloaded that right before we headed out of town with the family for a week over the summer, and it was a fantastic soundtrack to our journeys that summer. Just wonderful. Great driving music, great energy. So the Cat Empire from Australia is one that I can recommend. Zach A is in the chat. Everybody say hello to Zach. So I need you to play something. Immediately forget all the songs. Yeah, forgot all the songs you ever learned. Exactly, Zach. Supernova talking about a conference interrupted me, asked who's the right person to talk to. Yep, completely blanked. That's right. That's what I meant about, being asked something completely out of left field. I have a very hard time switching that quickly, And you knew the answer 5 minutes after they left, yes. Yeah, Zach, tell us what are some of your favorite songs to play on the guitar? Adam, I don't know. I certainly have never owned any Wu-Tang. I'm sure I've heard some of the most popular stuff, but I couldn't name one. Excuse me. Commander Salamander can list the top 5 bands. Well, since you said it, you have to follow through. Barracuda, I assume you are referring to the Heart song, Barracuda. And Trains Push, do you play with any other musicians, or just solo along with recordings, or what do you do? Blitz Symphonic, violin, junior high and half of high school. So what happened halfway through high school, Blitz, that did you change to another instrument, or had your fill of a violin in general. Captain Carpenter is in the chat. Everyone say hello to Captain Carpenter, please. Tampa, can't sleep. Very good. Welcome. I mean, no, not very good that you can't sleep, but it's very nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us. There is Commander Salamander's top 5 bands. Check them out. It's an interesting selection. I think I've seen Typo Negative before. Once in front, they were opening for Queensryche once. Might have been the Empire tour. Zach's been learning Sticky Fingers songs. Yeah, Zach, you should check out the Cat Empire, since they're also from Australia. The Eggster. You need a stronger light. The calculator isn't working. You are correct. Hello, Eggster. The Eggster. Welcome to the chat. Hello, Noah from Alabama. Everyone say hello. Blitz, you had a bad relationship with a teacher. That is heartbreaking to hear. I wonder how many kids have had their, have kind of reworked their interests or put their energies in other places because of a personality conflict with a teacher. It's unfortunate. Hey, wait, the calculator is working. Check that out. Black Sabbath should be on Commander's top 5. Queen of the Reich. That's right, Trainsbush. Have you ever heard a cover of Queen of the Reich by a Canadian power metal band called Unleash the Archers? It's very good. I am not watching The Mandalorian, although I do hear it's good, and I'm all about those Baby Yoda pictures that I've been seeing, so there's that. Toured with them, yeah. I'm not really a Typo Negative expert, so I didn't really realize that Peter Steele passed away. Love Queensryche. Captain Carpenter, Mandalorian's been great so far. Mustache Judo is in the chat. Everybody say hello to Mustache Judo, please. Yeah, Zach, I played bass and I played alto saxophone in middle school band. And we have quite a handful of instrumentalists that are some of our regulars here in the chat. Indoctrination centers known as schools. Yeah. Trains Push is all about that rush life. Understood. Okay, Nick. Good luck. Good luck getting to sleep. I mustache you a question. Oh my goodness gracious. Zach played alto sax in the 6th grade, yep. I played it in 7th and 8th grade. I still have it. Well, I made a video using the saxophone too, so you've probably seen that. Yikes. That's too bad about Peter Steele. Sounds like he just burned his body out. Mustache Judo came from a random name generator in the 7th grade. Flute. That's really cool. I've always admired the flute as an instrument. I like watching videos on YouTube of, some of the players who run the various flute channels, and the ones that play the flutes, the lower voiced flutes, right? Like the bass flute, that are the larger sizes, or they have the elbow in the body to make them long. I love those lower pitched flutes. They're just kind of amazing, smoky, woody kind of a tone about them. Very, very mysterious. Thanks for the comment about the audio. I did have some trouble with it last week. I think I've got it all dialed in now, so thank you for noticing. Look, it swarms me ASMR. Swarms, it has been so long. Everybody say hello to Swarms and check out her channel. It's super cool. So good to see you. Yep, I did a lot of all the clicking and the pads. It's one of my older videos, that saxophone video. Thanks so much for stopping by, Kyubi. You have a good Thanksgiving too, okay? So good to see you all tonight. We're in our 4th year together, if you can believe that. That's crazy, right? Doesn't seem like it should be that long. This is an ink cartridge for an HP printer. It's still in its wrapper. I have to be very careful with this one. Swarms has just woken up. So cool. I'm just so glad to see you. Gonna have to hold this one back from the mic just a little bit. Crazy Train. The song Crazy Train reminds me of high school. This is a very sensitive wrapper. You guys know I love doing the barely touching kind of unintentional kind of sound, but this wrapper will get really, really loud really fast. Ink is better than a Tide Pod. Tide Pod, Tide Pod, Tide Pod. Yeah, relaxing ASMRs. The OG when it comes to the ink and the fountain pens. Love those videos. It's like I can't take my eyes off the meters and OBS when I'm handling this ink cartridge. Yeah, Commander, I absolutely agree. The intentional, unintentional is my favorite as well. I get comments every now and again about the similarities between what I do and what he does, and I'm always very honored to get that comparison because he's got an outstanding vibe about his work, and I take any comparison to him as the highest praise. Thanks, Swarms. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I've got it dialed in correctly tonight. The rain is picking up outside. Thank you, Trainspush. I appreciate that. Thanks, Supernova. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, I agree. It's certainly not a for me, and I suppose I would assume for many people, it's very mood dependent. It's very context dependent in terms of what we like to listen to, or what hits us just the right way when we're in a certain mood. One day we can enjoy one creator the best, and then the very next day it goes a different direction. It's so subjective. Right, Swarms, exactly. It's very personal, which is one of the great things about this kind of content and this form. I would venture to say it's one of the most personally subjective things out there in terms of who likes what. wish I could remember what trigger it was from a few streams ago. There was one item that I had, and the stream's going along and the chat is going along, and then whenever I would get to this one item and start using it, the chat would just go dead, because this thing was, whatever it was zoning everybody out. It was so noticeable. Then I would move away to something else, and then people would start chatting again. So this thing was just wiping out the entire chat, because everybody was, just kind of zoning out to it so much. It was hilarious. Creator for all moods, you're right, Swarms. Very subjective. Thank you, Zach. That's a very helpful and thoughtful observation. I appreciate that. I do try to be interested in the items, even for the simple trigger videos. You can still be using something that's interesting to you. I really couldn't do it any other way, because I have to, I have to enjoy what I'm doing here first, right? And trying to just generate triggers off of things that I don't have a personal connection with, or a story behind, or a memory attached to it. I don't know. I just don't know why I would spend a lot of time doing something like that. So there's got to be something. There's got to be a connection that goes beyond that, But that's just for me, of course. Every channel is different. Every channel has a different reason for being. Talking about the pond, yeah, I remember that one. I had to do that entire video twice. Did I ever mention that in the video or in the comments? Standing out there in front of the tripod with the recorder, whispering into that recorder. I had to do that entire video twice, because of a lighting problem, believe it or not. Thank you, Swarms. That's very kind. Yeah, it was stupid. I was there. I was there in an early part of the day when, before the day had really gotten as bright as I was there before the brightest part of the day, and just out of habit, I locked the exposure setting on my video app when I started, because I always do that when I'm shooting videos indoors. And that was fine for when I started, but then by the time I was done, it was so much brighter outside, and the camera wasn't able to stop down the exposure to compensate for the brightness because I had locked the exposure. And so by the time I was done, the frame was so bright, and it was way too bright, and it looked bad. I stood there and said, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do this entire thing again. And it's funny, I don't remember anything that I said really in that video, but I remember that story that I just told you, that I had to shoot it twice. So that the channel generates funny little stories for me too, I guess. New memories for me. Oh, trains push. That's kind of an amazing comment. Thank you. Slowing down in this hectic reality. It really is so important. It really is like a battle, really. It's like a fight. It's so easy to get pulled along at the speed of this modern life. It's so easy to get sucked up into the current and kind of forced to go along at that speed, and we miss so much. It's a real fight. It's a fight against our surroundings to kind of dig our heels in and stop. So if you're able to do that, even just a little bit, I think you're really winning, Especially if you notice something while you're doing that you wouldn't have noticed before. And it doesn't have to be an external thing. Sometimes it can be an internal thing. Maybe you're able to think about a problem that you've been wrestling with, or you can talk to yourself or tell yourself something or listen to yourself in a way, right, that you couldn't before. These are all advantages of being able to kind of slow down. Zach asks, on the topic of your older videos, is there any particular video that you're most proud of, or that was your favorite to make? I will tell you that I was pretty happy with the ramble that I did for the video I did for 100 subs, actually, where I had the stack of Kiss cards and I was sorting them. What I talked about on that video, the direction that it went, I really I really liked the way it ended up. When I don't script this stuff, right? So I'll have kind of an idea and some kind of primary milestones that I want to touch on, but a lot of it is just kind of improvisational, and I don't know exactly where it's going to end up. But I was really happy with the way that one turned out. But it took so long for really anybody to start watching these videos that a lot of the videos from the first 6 or 9 months, a lot of those videos have been kind of missed completely because, well, it's just, there was nobody around watching them back then. Hey, look what I have here. I got a really nice comment recently on the Cassette Tape sounds video. And I thought it might be fun to handle one of those tonight as well. Oh, the slingshot video, my goodness. Thanks, Swarms. That's very cool. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? Should we just handle the tape? This is one of the tapes, one of the many tapes that I made for driving around in the car. This is what I was talking about with the person who commented recently. I've got the car I drive now, I've got so much music. I've got so much music in the car, and you always have it with you when you're driving around, but back in these days, you had the cassette deck in the car, and I would have a bunch of cassettes on the shelf, but I wouldn't generally keep a ton of cassettes in the car, particularly over the summer, because the heat was no good for them. So most often you would grab a few tapes on your way out of the house when you're getting ready to go someplace. And that was a nice little tradition of, deciding, what am I in the mood for? What do I want to listen to on this trip? And you picked out 1 or 2 or 3 things. Then you would jam out to that stuff. But I liked the tradition of having to make a decision, What am I in the mood for? What's going to speak to me on this trip? And you don't have to make that decision anymore, and I guess I kind of miss it a little bit. This was one of the many tapes that I had to choose from. Thanks, Zach. If you watch that 100 subs video, I hope you enjoy it. I'd love to get your feedback, as always, if you feel so inclined. Odd memories of cassette tapes. Just old enough to have had a Walkman when I was young, before the Discman. Felt like such a nerd with it on the school bus. Swarms when I got a Walkman. It changed my life. Recording songs from the radio. Yep. I recorded albums from the public library. That's all of my first tapes were tapes I recorded myself on my little combination record player cassette deck. Hey, Melodic Canvas is in the chat. Everybody say hello to Melodic Canvas. Good to see you again. All-time favorite band. And remember, everybody chime in on these answers when we ask questions in the chat, okay? All-time favorite band. Those questions are really hard for me because my tastes vary so much from year to year and from mood to mood. I kind of envy, frankly. I envy the people who would have an A+ number one favorite that's always above all others, you know. People, hey, what's your favorite band? And then boom, they got a band at the tip of their tongue. That's always the band, right? That they know is their favorite, and it's been their favorite forever. I've never been in that position. I know the earliest bands that I started listening to. And every year there might be another one or two that float to the top. It's tough. Tara Uranga is in the chat. Everybody say hello to Tara. And part of that also is just because, you know, I've listened to so many different styles over the years. So many different phases, and so the stuff that I like, you know, just kind of forms this tapestry. There's a Metallica shout out, then the typo for Commander. Yep, totally get that. Weird Al. Are you serious, Supernova? I mean, Weird Al's a badass, there's no doubt about that. Dio or Def Leppard? My goodness. Yeah, Dio had some really satisfying rockers back in the day. Rest in peace. But, gosh. When Def Leppard hit their stride, it was like they could do no wrong there for a few years. Yeah, Weird Al is a good answer, but and I've enjoyed a lot of his stuff. You know, he's definitely no slouch in terms of his own musicianship and arranging ability. If you haven't heard his Hamilton polka, that thing is I think is a masterpiece. It's obviously better if you know Hamilton, the musical, but the way he mashed all of those songs together for that medley is masterful. Let's see, we're not getting enough sound out of the cassette tape itself. It needs a little more deliberate handling. Reprimand all the people who dared to sleep. Well, maybe if they fell asleep during the stream, they're, the video's still running. But of course, I'm happy for the 21 or whoever is listening and watching at the moment. I am a little later than I usually am, but that's perfectly fine. It's way better than 0. It's only 7 p.m. at where Alistair is. Hey, it's Cody K. Cody K is in the chat. Say hello, please. Love your vids. Hope you do another yearbook one someday. Thanks, Cody. I appreciate that. That was a fun video to really think through and kind of conceptualize. I got really lucky in that the yearbook that I picked out had so much writing in it. And if I did another one, I would absolutely have to find another yearbook that has as much writing as possible. That's where all the personality and all the imagination gets triggered, is from seeing the writing of all those people who very likely are not around anymore. That's what really got to me about it. So I'm glad you liked it. Thanks very much. Thanks, Zach. I'm glad you were able to hang with us for a little bit. Hope to catch you next time. Swarms mentions I could do a video making a mixtape. Yeah, I wonder how that would work. Good night, Zach. I wonder if it could be like, I guess it would have to be like picking the songs for the mixtape. Maybe I could flip through CDs or stacks of vinyl and come up with the songs I'd want to put on the mixtape and write them down or something like that. Talk about why I'm picking them or what the purpose of the mixtape is. Hey, Alistair. Yes, that's exactly what we must have been saying that at the same time. I'll have to put that on my running list of ideas. apologize, Supernova. I definitely don't get the semi-obscure reference. Alistair made a mix CD for his buddy's birthday. Awesome. Hey, Melodic, if you're talking about basses, yeah, I have one Fender Precision and one Spectre NS5. Only two. I'm not a big collector, just a player. Just a meat and potatoes player. It's turning 40, filled a CD with our favorite tunes from the 90s and early 2000s. That was a very thoughtful gesture. Alistair, did he like it? Yeah, it's very thoughtful. It's especially thoughtful as you know, as people kind of move away from physical media, to think about that as a gift is very well done, well played. Hey, Supernova, I actually started this stream tonight with writing with a pencil on paper, taking notes and stuff, so I'm glad you came in late if you don't like that sound. Yeah, eating sounds. I do not watch any eating sound videos. Not really my thing. But they're clearly popular with a lot of folks. Fender for the win. Yeah, I've never owned a Gibson bass. I don't know that I've ever even played one. Who wants eating when you have pencils in a glass? Well said. Well said. Hey, Ardizzle, I've only tried playing a stand-up bass once, I think. It's really a whole different instrument, frankly. The the muscle memory and the technique that you have playing an electric bass doesn't really translate to the upright bass. I would have liked to have learned when I was much younger, but I'm starting to have problems with my hands now. Particularly my left hand, which is my fretting hand, and upright bass would just be a little too much of a physical challenge for me now, I think. My playing days are probably numbered without some sort of a surgical intervention at some point to help with carpal tunnel issues, unfortunately. Trying not to drop things. Thank you very much, Trains. Push. It was good to have you here tonight, and I hope to see you again. I think that if I was listening to this and not actually executing it, this is probably one of those sounds that would take me out of commission a little bit. I'm a sucker for these little tappy bits. So I guess it's a good thing I'm doing it and not just listening to it. Hello there, Daniel. Daniel Rupert. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Hope you're doing well. Everybody say hello to Daniel. The Whisper Corner is here. Outstanding. Hello, Whisper Corner. So good to see you. Everybody say hello to the Whisper Corner. You know him. He's the person who sent the very small antique atlas that the One Small Atlas video featured. Yep, Kev indeed. It will be featured again in an upcoming video called Two Small Atlases. Supernova is looking forward to the sequel. Well, I am too, Supernova. I had an unintentional hiatus there for a bit. And I didn't want those two videos to be kind of back to back on the channel. I wanted some videos in between them. But it is still very much on the list, and I'm sure I'll be starting on it sometime in the next couple of months. I think we've definitely reached the the complete zoning out, the zombie portion of the stream. When you can't put two coherent words together anymore because of the hypnotic effects. But that's okay. that we're going to wrap it up at about 2 hours, so about 10 more minutes. I think that'll be good for this evening. Thanks so much, Swarms. Thanks for being here so long, and it's wonderful to see you again. Have a good safety conference. Be safe at the safety conference. We have our wooden spools. Thanks so much, Art Dizzle. You have a good Thanksgiving as well, and thanks for being here. Hey, there's Zero Janitor. Hello, hello. If anybody's still awake, please say hello to Zero Janitor. Yes, I'm afraid your assumption is correct. We're actually coming up on the last 5 minutes of this 2-hour stream. But it's been a very nice hangout tonight, and I hope you will consider watching the playback. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. I had a bit of a sound problem last week that I got ironed out, so I wanted to do another stream with the setup working the way it was supposed to. Thank you for making Zero Janitor feel at home. I appreciate that. It's a bigger deal than you think. It doesn't feel good to be ignored in a stream. I've done that many times. I don't mean huge streams, you can't acknowledge everybody in those really big streams, but on the small ones it's nice to make sure everybody is acknowledged when they speak up. So I appreciate everybody helping me with that. Okay, everybody. We're at the very end, and perhaps there are people sleeping right now, so perhaps we'll just whisper our goodbyes here and keep it very, very chill and very, very quiet. Hey, there's Introvert. Hello, sir. Great videos. Any ideas for the future? Everybody say hello. Hello there, Introvert. Thanks for being here. Well, I carry a list in my phone of ideas. It's been a running list for years now, so there's always a few ideas slowly bubbling to the top. Which ones will be made next is always up for debate, but we shall see. We shall see. I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks so much for helping tribute to this most recent milestone. I don't really talk about milestones that much, but I figured 5K was one we should stop and acknowledge. Thanks to Rich over at Let's Find Out ASMR for the help last week in bumping us up over the 5K mark. Salvador Ortiz. Hello there. Sorry, man, you're just right at the tail end. Very good to see you, though. Please watch the playback. You might enjoy that. So thanks, everybody. And for those of you who are doing holiday stuff this week, happy Thanksgiving. Stay in good spirits and proper spirits. And I hope it all works out well. And that is very enjoyable. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you all again very soon. So you all have a good night and a good morning. Enjoy your day. And we'll see you all soon, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.